Hear that? That's the sound of a patient whose health data is protected from a cyber attack. And that's the sound of a financial system that's digitally secured from bad actors. Right now, there's an invisible war being fought on a digital battlefield that impacts what we do every day. That's why at Peraton, we do the can't be done to help protect the vital systems we rely on. Because if we don't, the alternative is unimaginable. Peraton.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Direct-to-Video Connoisseur. This is Matt here, and I should say, as Matt, as always, but also as always, we've got my two guests here, Ty and Brett, who are no strangers to the show. Welcome back, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, but I should say Ty and Brett from Comeuppance Reviews. That's part of the, you know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Right, you guys have been on so much that I'm not even like mentioning your
That's
your,
okay.
your site and everything in your podcast. I'm just like Ty and Brett are back.
Understandable.
Yeah, we don't even have a podcast.
No, we're from Comeuppance Reviews.
Exactly.
No, we don't even have a site anymore. No, we do.
Right. Just Ty and Brett, a couple guys coming on to chat about movies. Yeah. But one of the things too that I thought was interesting, because when we get into our topic today, we're going to be talking about unsung Dolph films, and one of the things that's interesting is Dolph has been the subject of the most podcasts that I've done. I think he's been I think of 5 or 6 Dolph episodes on here. But you guys have been on the most, but have never talked about Dolph before. So that's just interesting that we're finally sort of scratching that itch, right? And having, bringing the most topics and the person who's been, the guys who've been the guests the most together for finally.
I guess mathematically it was only a matter of time till this episode happened. Just judging by the past, so yeah, we're very happy to be here as always.
Oh, I love being here.
Yeah. Now, one thing before we jump into the topic, Ty and I were kind of chatting about Cameo, and this
great band. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Right. Exactly. Right. We're talking about Word Up and
Word Up.
Right.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Right. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and we thought about kind of how they changed music in the '80s, and but really, we're talking about that service out there where you can pay a certain amount of money depending on the celebrity and how much the celebrity charges, and they'll give you a message. We were talking about kind of some ones that have come up, and actually kind of one of the funny ones that I remember seeing recently was somebody had Smokey Robinson wish their mother a happy Hanukkah. And he'd never seen Hanukkah spelled with the CH before. So he was like, so they want me to wish you, I don't know what this is, but a happy Chanukah. So happy Chanukah.
After all this time, doesn't know how that's spelled. Come on, Smokey.
Maybe it's like the suit that Mario had in Super Mario Brothers 3. Or that was the Tanuki suit. Never mind. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Right, happy Tanuki. Exactly.
Happy Tanuki suit. That's what I was like.
But I think one of the things we were talking about, because with what we do here, right, with this kind of thing, you never know, if we do get a chance to talk to somebody famous who does the movies, or they respond to a tweet or a comment on a blog or something like that. But yeah, kind of the idea of paying one of these celebrities to communicate with us, or to even wish us a happy birthday or something, I think it's Ty. I think as you put it, there's almost like there's something missing with that, right?
Something missing, yeah.
Interesting, doesn't it?
Because they just talk to you on their cell phone, so like, "Happy birthday, Matt! It's me, Dolph Lundgren." So it's like,
because this service is called Cameo.
Yeah.
Do they have the guy from Cameo because
That's a great question. I can look that up. Well, what's his real name, Mr. Cameo?
I believe his name is Larry Blackman.
Right,
okay.
I was going to say, yeah, I didn't know his first name, but I knew Blackman. Yeah, because I think Cameo has been through like however many different iterations. Like I think at one time they were like 15 people or something like that. They were like some.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of those funk bands of the day, they had like an incredible amount of members because they were taking after maybe Earth, Wind, and Fire, and God knows how many members they have, probably like 37 members. So, maybe Cameo is doing the same thing. So I think that would be good if you get the guide. You could say like, in that inimitable voice that I can't imitate. If he said "Happy Birthday" or whatever, that would be the Cameo on top of Cameo. It would be great.
Is it Larry Blackman MON or MAN?
Yeah,
I think it's MON.
I don't see Mr. Larry Blackman on Cameo.
He's not there.
Of course, he's
an
not.
oversight.
So.
I'm kind of curious actually how, because I hate saying this. It sounds very it sounds very macabre to say this, but I'm kind of curious to know if Larry Blackman is still with us even.
Well, that is a good question. To me, that's the only thing that could explain why he's not on Cameo.
Well, it says after I typed in Larry Blackman, Larry Wilcox is on Cameo.
Oh, okay.
So we can want, or maybe Eric Estrada too.
Yeah, and so Larry Blackman is still with us, according to Wikipedia. He is an American vocalist as opposed to was an American vocalist.
What was he now? He's like he's like an Australian vocalist.
Right. Exactly.
I looked at Wikipedia, like American vocalist Larry Blackman. It's like.
It also says like his years active. He was born in 1956. It says 1971 was like his first, year active. So from 15 he was starting as he started doing music. But I mean, really, as we know him, he really hits his stride in the mid 80s. I think that's where.
Oh yeah, well, it takes time to develop a great style like that. I think probably.
Yeah. But Larry, if you're listening to us out there, there's money to be made from Cameo. I feel like he could rule Cameo. I think
Oh, I mean, all he has to do is say "word up" to someone, and there you go. Yeah, I mean, this is such a no-brainer. It's not even funny. If the Cameo people are listening, they're from the company.
Yeah,
get this guy. Come on.
Have him advertise for you. I mean, can you imagine like you're watching a movie on TV or something, and like there's a commercial in the middle of the Tubi movie, and there's Larry Blackman being like, "What's the word? Get Cameo."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's too good of an idea, as I always say with Ty. Too good of an idea.
Well, you were telling me also. Well, Dolph costs $350 on Cameo. I was looking.
But for how long? Like, should we hire him to do like a 2-minute interview?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know. There's a lot of work.
Or does it have to be just him saying "Happy Birthday"?
Well, it could be anything, really.
I think they can say if they don't want to do something, because I was telling Ty, like, there's a video game I play on my phone where like you can, if you watch ads, like they give you stuff or whatever, and one of the ads was like for some like game that like I think it's kind of a ripoff kind of thing, but they used Cameo to get people like Cedric the Entertainer and Snoop Dogg to talk about download this app, and so I think some people were like, no, I'm not going to download this app or whatever, I'm not going to advertise a product, but yeah, because I know one of the ones there's a guy in Boston, Jim Murray, who works on a radio show. And he will do like voices because he does all kinds of different voices. Like I think I was telling you, Ty, like he when Bain Capital bought Subway, he did this whole routine about like Bain from the Batman movies being like, I like the sweet onion chicken teriyaki. Like you just the sweet onion chicken teriyaki. I was born in it. I grew up in it, or something like that. So you could you could have him do that kind of stuff, but like he won't like if like for example like he makes a sports take or something, he won't like do the opposite. So like he was saying like Tom Brady won because he won the Super Bowl. He beat the Patriots because they cut him. They didn't want to have him on the team anymore. So he went to Tampa Bay and won the Super Bowl. You couldn't like make pay him $40 to say how much he hates Tom Brady. Like like that kind of thing. But like he'll do just any voice. Like you just be like, hey, can you do the voice of this person and say happy birthday? And for $40 he'll do it. So like Dolph might have some rules. Like it might not be like you could give him like a list of interview questions and be like, for $350, will you answer these interview questions about like what it was like doing Showdown in Little Tokyo?
Which I would
Or
love
if
to
you
know.
have to do like a really fast interview, like just ask questions really fast, like what was it like working at Showdown in Little Tokyo? Okay, that's great. So just race through the interview so you can meet your 3-minute time slot.
Yeah. Do you like Montel Williams still from Peacekeeper? It's like.
Well, because right,
Is that a
you can't
spoiler
talk to
for
them.
something?
The way it works, I think, right, is that you give them the message, and then when they get a chance, they record it. And I also don't know too if there's like a rule of how long. Like so, like if we pay Dolph $350, like I don't know, does he have like 3 months to do the? I mean, because I guess when it's a birthday message, right, you kind of hope that they do it in time for the birthday. But I don't know if there's like a rule for like how long, because that's the other thing. But I think like. Yeah, I've never thought about the interview part of it because I mean, obviously, with the kind of budgets that we work on, which are pretty much zero, spending $350 to get Dolph to answer some questions about Showdown in Little Tokyo, even if we just give him a list and say, can you tell us what you do about Showdown in Little Tokyo for $350?
And if he can pick one, like we gave him like a list of like 30 questions, and he only has time for one, so like you get the recording back, and it's yes, and that's all you get. It's just an answer to a question. You don't know which one.
I like working on Showdown in Little Tokyo. Also,
of course, they begin to do one of those station IDs. This is Dolph Lundgren, and you're listening to Comeuppance Reviews. Maybe we can get him to do that.
That's probably more plausible.
Yeah, he probably would do that. I mean, that's and that's the question: is it is $350 worth it, or is it like, I mean, does Frank Zagarino have one and he's like even cheaper maybe, and you're like, okay, Frank Zagarino here for Comeuppance Reviews podcast, and I guess the other thing too is from our standpoint, is it cooler to have like Zagarino or David Bradley than it is to have Dolph? Like that's another thing too. Like Dolph's almost like is an obvious one, but would it be cooler? And then it's like how far down
for the price of one. Oh, sorry. I said you can get two for the price of one. Like instead of getting one Dolph for $350, maybe you can get like Zagarino and Bradley for the same price. You get two.
I can't
tell who's who.
Yeah, right. I mean, can you imagine they would be 175 though? Like if they're on there, they can't
get four. Maybe you can get a bunch of guys. But if I wanted Dolph, I'll just get Ty to do it. Ty can
do it for free.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Brett. It's not your birthday yet, though.
I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Right. But that you should probably advertise, Ty, that you're not free for everybody. Like, everybody can't just be like sending you emails saying like, "Can you wish me happy birthday?" It's Dolph Lundgren. Yeah, it's like you gotta at that point, right? Because you just get inundated with just.
You'd be like the guy from Boston.
I could do Trump if you want, but it's just happy birthday, Matt Berry. Terrible birthday.
So, we just get a really skilled impressionist to do these, and some people might not know the difference.
I think we just beat Cameo at its own game. Because
we start our own Cameo. It could be called like Pendant, and then we just do all the voices ourselves.
What do you call it? Pendant?
Well, yeah, Cameo, like a...
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Like a thing women wear. I don't know.
Well, I like it as almost like too, like when you go to Vegas and like instead of seeing Elvis or Wayne Newton, you're seeing like the impersonators doing Elvis and Wayne Newton. Like that's
a Wayne Newton impersonator.
And it's more fun, probably, to see these impersonators.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get Wayne Newton to talk about Best of the Best too and Brackus. Maybe he's still friends with Ralph Muller.
Can you imagine? I mean, Wayne Newton, that would be... I mean, Wayne Newton would... Like, so, like, I don't know what Wayne Newton... I have a feeling Wayne Newton would be expensive, just for my sense of it,
I'm trying to find the most expensive people on Cameo. I know we talk about Cameo the whole time. We got to talk about Dolph. But it's just like...
Well, if you could find an expensive person, let us know. But, I think Wayne Newton does have a very devoted fan base. So I do think he would probably charge in the several hundreds, would be my guess. But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
or you can get Chuck Norris, $450.
Wow.
So, I can't do a
Chuckster.
Yeah. I don't know.
What the only line I know from Chuck Norris, one of my favorite lines is what was that movie he did with Jonathan Brandis?
Sidekicks?
Sidekicks, right? And Joe Piscopo's like, "Oh, you're the best. I want to see it." And he's like, "Well, it is just like, well, you're only going to see it once, or something like that."
Yeah. He always has lines like that, like these stupid kind of one-liners, I mean, obviously, he has some great lines in Braddock Missing in Action 3, which is, I don't step on toes, I step on necks. And there's another great line from that movie that I'm blanking on because I wasn't planning on talking about Braddock today, but Braddock does have some of his classic Norris one-liners. So if anyone wants to see those, just check out Missing in Action 3.
Also, I guess there's the great one from The Hitman, Drop Dead. It's like, it's like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, that was the thing with Norris. I mean, he's turning 80 this year, or he turned 80 last year. He turned 80
We better get his cameo stat.
Yeah, he looks pretty good on Cameo because it could be, photoshopped or something. But he doesn't look 80.
Frankly, all the time.
I see the commercial still. I guess doesn't Wesley Snipes drop by? It's like, oh, I love the home gym.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, Wesley Snipes might be another one that but I think Wesley Snipes would charge a lot too. Don't you feel like he would?
I think he would. But he has tax problems he needs to iron out. So you can understand.
Maybe Nicolas Cage should be on Cameo.
Yeah. So you can buy another Dinosaur Skull.
I can't do it. Sorry.
Nicolas Cage impression is kind of tricky. I mean,
because he kind of gets more intense towards the end. Yeah. And he's a little speedy, so he's like, oh, he ramps it up. That's how you have to do your Cage impression if you're gonna work on it.
I'm on Cameo. It's like.
Man, yeah, Nicolas Cage. I mean, he's someone now that we're talking here because before we get into Dolph, I mean, he's an interesting one for a podcast like ours, where he's doing a lot of direct-to-video stuff now, and it's almost like the direct-to-video stuff in some ways. It's like a weird difference between the way Nicolas Cage does direct-to-video and Bruce Willis does it, where like Bruce Willis is like, I'm just going to show up and, do my day of shooting. Give me my $65,000. I'm out. I'm not doing multiple locations. I'm not doing wardrobe changes. I'm not doing my reverse shots. I'm not doing
dialogue. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. No, I'm here. I'm bald. I'm wearing a suit. Get your scenes and I'm out. Exactly.
Yeah. It's a great way to work.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can do it, if you can do if you get to the point in your career when you can do a Willis or a David Caruso where you basically have to do no work, and you get a lot of money, that is awesome. That is so great for you. And not so much for the fans.
Yeah, for the fans, the director, the writer, the cinematographer, but especially the cinematographer. So it's like the reverse shots.
Well, that's the fake Shemps. That's where the fake Shemps come in.
Yeah. I mean, he had some good ones. Well, not really. He had some terrible fake Shemps. But Nicolas Cage, I mean, he does the work for the most part. I can't tell him.
He shows up,
And
he shows up.
That's what I was thinking. Like Nicolas Cage, like it's almost like for Nicolas Cage, he's like, well, if I'm doing Hollywood pictures, it's got to be like, the Weatherman or Family Man or whatever man that he's doing, And it's like he can't just be Nicolas Cage. Whereas like the DTV stuff, he's like, oh, they're happy to have me here, so I'm just gonna do what I do, and it's almost like he embraces the freedom, whereas Bruce Willis is like, just get me in here and get me out of here, give me my cash,
Yeah,
and it's that's unfortunate because you can kind of tell,
his contempt. Not as bad as Burt Reynolds in Malone, but it was pretty close. What's that movie he's in? Precious Cargo. So he's co-starring with Mark Paul Gosselaar. So it's like he's probably like, I have to co-star in a movie with Zach Morris. Right. I'm not going to show up that much. Oh, maybe for a day, half a day. So
yeah, but also, Cage is doing some more interesting material. Like if you look at movies like Mandy or Color Out of Space, both of those movies have their flaws, but they're very interesting movies and a lot more interesting than anything Bruce Willis has been working on for a very long time, if ever.
Because Bruce Willis is getting into the Seagal department of Hard Kill. It's like
I saw that. I think it's on Netflix, isn't it? Yeah. Hard Kill.
Hard Kill. That sounds familiar. And like all of the First Kill. It's like,
or they're missing a certain preposition, or I don't know if it's a preposition or not, but maybe the word to, so it would be in there somewhere.
Hard Kill 2. I'm surprised he hasn't made it yet.
Yes.
Hard Kill 2, Kill Harder.
Well, or maybe put the two in between the two words. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you did a movie with Seagal and Willis, where it's just like
no one would show up.
Yeah, it would just be all Shemps.
You would have to get Keone Waxman to direct that, right? Because he's the only person that could handle that much non-work in a movie from the main stars.
It's just all in the back of their heads. It's all Roy Orbison head, or just
Yeah, it's like a reverse shot, but the backs of both their heads. It'd be very surrealistic.
Yeah, I mean the whole time because you're not getting close up. Maybe if you're lucky at one.
Yeah, he would have to call like every kind of like middle grade. Like he'd have to be like, all right, I need Byron Mann, I need Johnny Mesner, I need Bren Foster. I mean, just
Danny Trejo, anybody.
Right, I need everybody just to work because I've got so much non-work happening in this film that I need these guys who come in and do all the work. Like just
they have to pour over it. Exactly. Yeah.
Hilarious. That's a great idea.
It would be like the director would be directing like an entire cast of stand-ins. No actual actors. The people those are the people that when they're testing the light and all that, they have to stand there. That's what would be their whole movie. It could be called stand-in, or maybe
that's a good. You can call it fake Shep. You call it fake Shep. And I mean, I think the only director that
out
could
for
pull
a hard
that off,
kill.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right. Hard kill 2, fake Shemp. Or
soft kill.
Soft kill. Soft kill would actually be a good title for that one.
Half-past Die Hard.
Now you're just being silly.
Yeah, just mixing up every Seagal and Bruce Willis title.
Right. Yeah. Well, maybe this is a good segue.
We should go to Dolph.
Well, no, because I think one thing that might be a good segue about this topic is that I think one of the things with Dolph, right, is that you everybody knows the big ones with him, but he's got so many films that he's done, and I think we talk about some of those other ones a lot, and that's why I thought it was kind of a cool idea for us to maybe do the unsung Dolph, right, the Dolph that aren't there.
Good idea. It's a fun idea.
Yeah, but I think also too one of the things is Dolph recently maybe in the 2010s, he's been doing more of these kind of like only in the film for a little bit kind of movies. It does seem to be a trend with a lot of. Yeah, I don't know if he has fake Shemps. How do you get a Dolph fake Shemp? I don't even know how.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
That would be very difficult.
I have to show up. I have no fake Shemps.
Right. But they do
He sounds like the type of guy who would be proud to not have fake Shemps.
Yeah, right.
Like I can picture him on social media saying, "I don't use fake Shemps." Like I can totally see that.
Hey, that's not bad. You're working on your Dolph.
I've listened to you, I guess, over the years.
Yeah,
but all three of us do at the same time.
It's just like 3 Dolphs.
No one can overdub me. Yeah, I only do my own overdubbings.
See it? We have our own Dolph impressions.
We're all gonna do our own Dolph. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the things with Dolph is that like for someone that we consider like kind of one of the best at the DTV realm, there's only a certain number of movies that we really talk about. And so when I was trying to think of a good idea for you, because again, trying to bring you guys who have been on the show so many times, and then Dolph, who's been a topic so many times, bringing you together, but coming up with a way to do it in a unique way. Because again, we just do Dolph. Everybody talks about the same Dolph, I think, in the same films.
Still Tokyo, The Punisher,
right.
There's other ones.
And those movies are worth talking about, but you're right. They have been done to death, kind of. I mean, they're the ones people know, the people that don't really dig deep like we do. We're watching every Dolph. So I think it's kind of incumbent upon us to bring these Dolphs to light. So I do think that's a good idea on your part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess because we've both got our list, so we might as well just do it the standard way we've always done it, right?
Okay.
Where we sort of just trade off and talk. And I think I have a feeling there might be some overlap, but on the other hand, this is going to be a unique one because I didn't really come up with any rules for what's an unsung Dolph.
That's true.
Yeah,
what's
a good
unsung
point.
to you might be not unsung to us, and he has such an extensive filmography at this point. There's a chance you might not overlap at all.
Right.
There's a real chance. I think I might have given away what.
Yeah, I think we're overlapping on at least one. Just because I think we've joked about it beforehand, so that'll be good. But yeah, why don't we jump into it, Ty? If you want to do your first one.
All right. So my first one is Direct Contact.
Nice.
Okay.
Because that one is just ridiculous, because he's just stuck in Bulgaria and he's shooting everyone, and the guy has that great line. They're like some sort of like official saying, "What if he goes AOL?" instead of AWOL.
Yeah, the guy.
That wasn't a joke. Yeah.
He says AOL. If you listen to his line reading, he says, "What if he goes AOL?"
I think I sent you the video, Matt, a year ago.
Yes.
And I rewatched it last year, like doing some like kind of Dolphathons.
Right.
It's like I still have it, I think.
Well, I think you want to go back and check. Does he really say it, or is that just something I misheard? No, he really says it.
Yeah. What if he goes AOL? So it's like
right?
Well, he got 3,000 free hours, so I think that's the issue.
Well, he could have gone Anna Nicole Smith and To the Limit with the AOL free disc, right?
Oh, yeah, right. Forgot about that. Yeah.
Anna Nicole Smith as Monica Lewinsky in To the Limit.
Someone needs to make up a poster online and do that, because that's amazing.
It's funny. This one didn't make my list, but it actually was my number 2 of my top 10 DTV films of the 2000s. So it probably should have made my list. And it wasn't even like an honorable mention. I don't know why I didn't even consider it, but yeah, this is a fun one. I think also one of the interesting things from a non-Dolph standpoint on this one is that Michael Paré, this is like one of those first ones where he's starting to try to be the next Eric Roberts.
Yeah, that's well said.
He pulls it off in this one. Because he's just fun in it.
Yeah.
He's like,
and just appearing in anything and lots of movies, and one of these sort of guys that is just will show up all the time, kind of like Eric Roberts. So I see what you're saying. He does play a very similar, very Eric Roberts-y type of role here.
Right.
Don't make me mention the Eric Roberts in the van again.
Because am I saying right? Is it Paré or Paré? I think it's Paré, isn't it?
I don't know, but I've always thought
heard
it was
said
Paré.
both ways. I think it's Paré, like Michael Paré. So
well, because the accent's on the E, so I'm thinking Paré.
Right.
Just if there's people listening to this that say otherwise, write in today. But I think it's Paré.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that would be a dream role for him, is the van, just sitting in the van. Like I think there are a few guys that have seen what Eric Roberts has done and think like this is. Wait, I mean, I think Brian. I almost said Brian Bosworth. No, I'm thinking of now I can't think of it. The one who was in
Brian Bender?
Rocky Horror.
Tim Curry.
Bostwick?
Barry Bostwick.
Barry Bostwick. Yeah.
Barry.
Yeah, Barry. My names are bad. I'm bad with names.
But I get Barry Bostwick and Bruce Boxleitner confused all the time. So
Boxleitner's another one who could go that route. I mean, he seems to be really good with the made-for-TV Lifetime movie, but
I have something like that, but I don't know if I want to give it away on this. I can give it away on your show. My idea of the next battle between remember I did Tim Busfield versus Tim Matheson?
Oh yes.
I mean, I can do the other one I have. I can just say, who cares? Which is I know now I lost. Oh, here it is.
So, I don't remember.
Oh, here it is. It's Dale Midkiff versus Randall Patinkoff. We'll go deeper into that in the next episode.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can flesh that out later. Yeah.
I just wanted. That's just the idea. So
it is funny how when you watch a lot of these movies, there are these types that just seem to show up, and you're just like, and sometimes it's like that type is like a poor man's version of another type, or sometimes it's just like you could replace it with another one, or it's like any number of 3 guys that could be playing that part.
They're replaceable. They're a dime a dozen, as they say.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that did kind of give me an idea for an episode as well. This could work, Matt,
I can write it down right now.
Shows or ours. But why don't we do an episode devoted to that? Because I feel like that would generate a lot of discussion. So if it's someone versus someone, or people that are very similar in the DTV world, why not flesh that out into a whole discussion?
That might be it, and maybe making our lists of those, right? Like that would be an interesting kind of list. Maybe we do like a 3 instead of a 5 for that, because there's 2 per.
6 people
or more. It could be 2 or 3 in some cases.
Yeah.
So we have 20 people to talk about.
I think
so. I feel like
Oh, go ahead.
I'll write that down. Sure.
I was just gonna say that could be a good episode for podcasting.
Yeah.
Sure.
When we watch these movies, it is funny when you see enough of these. You start to kind of there's almost like a language and an understanding of how the films work that is. Right, that is just sort of unique to people who watch a lot of them. That's one of the things I love about your podcast is you guys kind of like talk in that realm a lot, and it's like very easy to understand it. Like oh yeah, this guy's a cop on the edge, and it's like it's like just like the cop on the edge concept is something that just like how many times do you see like a box and it's like so and so is a cop on the edge, and it's like it's like okay, yep, this guy's a cop, and it's like you just say it and you kind of know exactly what it means.
Right, click.
And then and that precludes several paragraphs worth of explaining it. It just cop on the edge. You know it, you love it, you know what it means, and then we just go on to the next bit. So thank you for for recognizing that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Sure.
Well, we gotta
Yeah,
go
so-
to your number 5.
Yeah, so my number five.
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, classic the go ahead bit. So if the direct contact, yeah, I definitely would recommend that. I mean, a lot of wacky stuff happens. Won't say any more. No one's seen it. So.
Yeah, and it is available on pretty much everywhere.
Is it on Tubi?
It's on Tubi.
It's on Tubi.
I think Tubi's better than Pluto for my money because
Yes.
it's on Pluto as well. But I think Tubi is the one. If you can get something on Tubi, because it's also on the IMDb channel, which is technically, I guess,
it's like
IMDb,
Amazon Prime.
Right, it's like Amazon Prime with commercials. You can go on Prime and
watch free with commercials.
Right, exactly.
But I did watch like the first several seasons of Columbo on IMDb TV, and it's pretty painless. Like it's like some short commercials, and they're all the same commercials over and over again, usually for Amazon or something Amazon related. And you can just mute it or walk away. I mean, but that's TV, and you expect there to be some commercials. As far as movies, I don't know if I would do that, but I thought watching Columbo on it was pretty painless.
Yeah.
But we gotta go to your number, right? Number 5. I don't want to.
So yeah, my number 5. So I went with Skin Trade for my number 5. And as a recent Dolpher, I think I mean it's got a huge cast. It's interesting for a film that has the cast that it has. It doesn't get the kind of recognition I think that some of the other Dolph ones get. You know, people don't talk about Skin Trade the way they talk about some of the other big ones, and I don't know that this is necessarily as good as, like, say, a Showdown in Little Tokyo or something like that. But Michael Jai White's good in it, Tony Jaa's good in it, Peter Weller's in it.
Yeah, Pete Weller,
Ron Perlman. I mean, it's definitely like kind of an invested cast where. And I think part of the idea was I think this was supposed to be Tony Jaa's introduction to American audiences. So I think everybody wanted to do it well, and then I don't know what happened, if maybe it was shelved and Tony Jaa came out in something else. But I don't know exactly what happened there.
It kind of went straight to video and kind of fell off the radar.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying I recognize that's well said when you said they're invested, because I do think there was some sort of very earnest attempt to talk about like human trafficking and child trafficking in the movie. Like there's a opening on screen crawl, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe one after the movie talking about that. So I do think there's a certain earnestness to the movie. And so that's cool that you picked up on that.
It still might be online, because I think when they were kind of shooting it or making it, Dolph was on CNN or some other news show. Like, I'm making Skin Trade. I'm on CNN. I like James Earl Jones. This is CNN. So it's like, and it was like
is this the one with Kung Lei, and is Kung Lei in this movie? Or am I thinking of something
No,
else?
you're thinking of
Puncture Wounds.
Puncture wounds.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of, some kind of injury. I was trying to think of what injury it was.
Skin
Like,
puncture. I was getting that mixed up.
Puncture wounds, exit wounds.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, because I was just gonna. I don't know if anyone's gonna be talking about that later, but that's on the box art where Kung Lei looks exactly like Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like, well, because they were in a movie together, right? One from the chamber.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, they did one in the chamber together. Yeah, and Skin Train's another one that's available everywhere. It's on Tubi, Pluto, Crackle.
Crackle.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's I mean, I think Crackle and Pluto seem to have more commercials than Tubi. I don't know if maybe it feels like Tubi seems to do it better. And I also feel like Tubi, it seems like if we support Tubi, like more and more of the stuff we like it, because I've been seeing like some good Scott Adkins ending up on there. I think Legacy of Lies, which just came out this year, is already on Tubi.
Right, which we watched. Yeah.
Found it at Goodwill for $2. Savers at $2.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
It was on the bottom of the DVD site. It's like what? Legacy of Lies? Wait, that's a new movie.
Yeah. Somebody was trying to hide it. And come back with money later, and you scooped it on the.
No, you can't do that at these thrift stores. If you see it, you have to get it, because it's not going to be back.
Yeah.
It's my experience.
You get these hot releases at G-Will. It's pretty good.
Exactly.
Well, that's where a lot of these things are going. Well, you found some movies from 2021 at Goodwill.
Yeah, I found that Tara Reid movie called Attraction to Paris. It also has Christopher Atkins. I haven't watched it yet. It's in a pile, but it's like a thriller or some of that. And it's like 2021. That's this year.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah,
this is like maybe the best time, isn't it? It's interesting because like the movies themselves are not as good anymore, right?
No.
Like as they were
generally, no.
But like compared to like when we started doing this in the late 2000s, where it was like it was really hard to find a lot of things. It seems like between the streaming services, between like low cost DVDs and Blu-rays that are now ending up in the used piles, it's like there's a like kind of like a wealth of stuff out there.
Yeah, availability has increased.
It's increased,
but we still have a rare movie list of about. Well, I'm not sure. It's like one page of movies that are really, really hard to find. So the thrill of the chase does go on, right. And because that's the thing. Yeah, availability is so much more than it used to be. But then again, the thrill of the hunt and finding the stuff has gone down, because when you have everything at your fingertips, the excitement, the thrill kind of goes away. So yeah, I'm kind of mixed on that, because on the one hand, yes, you can get lots more, but on the other hand, the hunting and the finding that we used to have is not really around. So I'm kind of torn by that.
I understand that feeling, because like you can just talk to Tubi and say, I want to watch Skin Trade, and like, okay, here you go.
Yeah, in the old days, it would take months, if not years, to find a movie like that. Now it's like right at our fingertips.
Yeah, you have to hope Netflix would have it on DVD.
On DVD, and then it might be saved.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then what?
And they're moved for years. It's like,
like Ty said, the dreaded saved, right?
Yeah, saved.
Yeah, saved. Yeah, we're still dealing with that because we still have Netflix disc that we use.
Yeah, so do you still get ones that say saved?
I think Leaving Las Vegas is a save.
Oh. Yeah, well, I added to my library queue because actually you can
do
that.
Actually, you did that, or I'll erase it later.
I added it to it, so I mean I can get it from the library.
Oh, okay.
Because you can do a similar thing. You can find DVDs that your local library system might have, and then you can create a list.
They had a couple Atkins at the librri, which I was surprised.
Yeah, Max Cloud I think is available on Hoopla. I've got to see that one. Is that what's called, Max Cloud? Is that what?
Yeah, he's like, it's not a sci-fi. Maybe it's a slog movie, not a sci-fi movie.
right. Yeah.
Is that his
Tolerance came from the library? That movie Zero Tolerance that he's quote unquote in. They kind of spliced in the footage. But that's neither here nor there. But we found that at a library sale. So obviously it was an ex-library rental that they were selling at like the yearly library sale. So they did have that.
Yeah. Yeah, so
you just gotta look. You just, to people out there, you just gotta look everywhere. Look at your local library. Find out when your library sale is. You never know what you're gonna find there.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think for people out there that are collectors, because I think a lot of people just want to just go on eBay. Keep in mind that eBay is a lot of times eBay is inflated because the people that are selling on eBay, they're trying to make a living a lot of times with
right.
eBay. And so it behooves them to go to these library sales, buy everything up, and then try to inflate the price because they got to put food on their table. And so if you can get there first and kind of find some of the stuff that you really want, you get it for that bargain that is just it's like $2.
You cut out the middleman.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if Legacy of Lies isn't any good, too, right? If you don't like it or whatever, you're only out $2, and you don't feel as bad about it.
It's not that good, unfortunately.
And even then, you could trade it in at certain places and maybe make some part of that back. So it's a whole system, but you have to put in the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm on number 4.
Yeah, I think you're on number 4.
Yes, which mine is Bridge of Dragons.
Nice. Oh. Nice. So that one's on my list as well. So we can probably bang it out right here. And
sure.
Not for number 4, but it is on my list.
Okay. I wonder where that is on your list. I thought this is kind of interesting one. It's like post-apocalyptic, better than The Last Warrior, which is one of the worst Dolphs.
Yes.
It's like he's just sitting on a bus the whole time. The Last Warrior is like there's a bus.
And then a woman does a rain dance and suddenly starts raining.
Get off my screen. Yeah, exactly. But
Bridge of Dragons is not like that. There's a lot more to that.
Good. Yeah, you got Kerry Tagawa being evil as usual, and it's funny. It's the swishes from Florentine.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
So that's why I made it.
The other thing too is that this is the second movie that I know of. I know maybe there's other movies out there, but I believe this is the second movie where you have a character named Warchild, unironically, in it. So you've got this one, and of course you've got Point Break, right? Where right, Vincent Clint is Warchild, and Swayze has one of my favorite lines ever in movie history: "Back off, Warchild." Seriously. That might be one of my favorites. And so whenever we would hear his name is War Child, I remember my friends and I, because my friends and I got this for $2 at Suncoast, used at Suncoast.
Oh, I love hearing that.
Yeah, and we were just like, we watched it. We didn't know what to expect from it. We didn't know what this was, and we just loved it. And it became like one of our all-time favorites, where we would just watch it over and over. But that was one of the things we would do sometimes. Like whenever they would mention War Child, like, oh, War Child, this or that, we'd be like, back off, War Child. Seriously.
I didn't even realize Suncoast sold things for that low. My memory of Suncoast is that they were like, high mall prices. I didn't think that they had even $2 bargains, or maybe was that when it was going out of business?
Yeah, it was towards the end, so they were trying to be flexible, I think, or trying to be agile, as they say in the business world. And so they started selling used DVDs, and so most of them were more like $5, but this one I think was $2 because it was again it was Unsung, right? It was an unsung film.
Unsung
Dolph. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you got DVD or tape?
DVD.
No, it was a DVD.
Okay, we got it on DVD for $2. Yeah.
So yeah, this is an enjoyable one. People need to know. No one ever talks about Bridge of Dragons.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this one. I mean, like I said, there's a swishing sounds. The sound there. I mean, it's also got Gary Hudson, and we used to make jokes about Gary Hudson's character because it's like he would drink out of that flask and we'd be like, oh man, this milk is horrible, stuff like that. Like he just, and then like Dolph. Remember, he gets a cut on his forehead, and they tape this like square size like gauze or something to it, and it looked like a maxi pad. And so we would joke about that. Dolph's got a maxi pad on his head, and yeah, I mean, it takes place in this future that's like, I guess there's like one Asian family and they run everything, right? So there's Tagawa, like there's like maybe like 2 or 3 Asian people total. It seemed like they run a lot, and then you've got like these Eastern European peasants that like, and it's like futuristic, but it's like, I don't know, like 19th century, or I don't, and all the vehicles had 666 on them, which was interesting.
Good memory.
Yeah, it's because I've seen this so many times.
Oh, I watched it a couple years ago. I still don't really have a copy yet. I'm trying to, when is it? I'll have to buy one.
Yeah,
let's buy online.
Suncoast isn't around.
I just get a Suncoast to buy another copy.
Yeah, I mean, for people out there, this is on all the streamers that we've been talking about. It seems like almost every Dolph that's not like, his biggest ones, it seems like they're all available to stream for the most part.
Good.
So
I know I watched it on Amazon. We watched it on Amazon a couple years ago.
Yeah, and like you said, it's Isaac Florentine who, this is, I think people, when they hear Isaac Florentine, they think of him with Scott Adkins doing like some of like the really most amazing stuff. Like this isn't really that, right?
No, this one's a little, I wouldn't say low rent, but it's definitely a little junkier. It's like,
yeah, and for our friend Will at Exploding Helicopter, it has a great exploding helicopter at the end, which I think
is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because there's that awesome exploding helicopter in Red Scorpion.
Yes.
Right? That's like a classic one. It's like a top 5 probably.
Yeah.
And I really.
That doesn't fit the subject because I think that is more of a sung Dolph and an unsung.
Yeah.
I think people know about Red Scorpion. So
Red Scorpion is more sung than
I like that. Yeah, it's sung. No one says sung.
Exactly right.
Well, that's why we're saying it today, and we're getting, we're giving people some content they don't get elsewhere.
Exactly.
You want your number 3, or you want me?
So my number 4. So actually, I believe this one is on your list further up. So, but my number 4 is The Peacekeeper.
Yes.
Yes.
I like Montel Williams. I was never on his show as a guest, though.
I mean, casting genius.
Yeah.
Getting Montel Williams to team up with Dolph Lundgren. I don't know who thought of that, but kudos to them because that is a great idea.
I wonder if Lou Gossett Jr. wasn't available. He looks a lot like Lou Gossett Jr., Mr. Montel.
And it is the type of role that Gossett would have done. But, he was working a lot at that time, Gossett. So he probably wasn't available. But you're right. I'm guessing that was the filmmaker's first choice. But thank God they went with Montel because that is such a great idea, such a great team up.
And you got Roy Scheider as the president, and then you had that wacky car chase on the roof. It's a winner.
Yeah. Well, and then there's that scene with Montel Williams where he's going into a room and he's got his gun and I guess he's like trying to look up and point his gun at something. But I don't know if maybe like the way he did it the first time it was too stiff, and the director's like, no, you need to be more action. So he's like got his like butt sticking out, and he's like crouching almost. And it's like I remember we watched that like multiple times. And then of course the other thing is the nuclear codes. The way that the nuclear codes are set up is it's a screen on the laptop or something that has a list of countries, and I guess you just click the country and you blow it up with the nuclear bomb.
Wow.
One of them is Chile, not Chile, right? Or Chile.
Oh, Chile?
Right, but it's
Chili
it's a
like
bowl,
the food?
right, like the food. It's and so I remember the longest time on my computer, I actually had a screenshot of that as my desktop wallpaper. Was just
that's
that.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So that makes me think of they can blow up other places. Like we're going to blow up Donut. They're going to blow up Donut. It's like,
well, I mean, they can probably blow up Turkey.
or Hamburg.
Yeah, Hamburg. There's a lot of places they can blow up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Hungary,
so
maybe.
Hungary, yeah.
Blow hunger, right?
They'll definitely take out world hunger right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the movie itself, it is, like you said, and this is another one for people out there. This is another one that's available to stream pretty much everywhere. So, I think Tubi, IMDb TV, Pluto, and it's just like, I think, like you said, the casting decision to put Montel Williams in this with Dolph, it just makes it so much fun it's just a fun time.
Now we might need some fact checking on this, but I do seem to remember in the 90s, Montel Williams took credit for the insult, "Is that your head or did your neck throw up?"
Oh, did he?
Now Montel Williams claims to have invented that insult.
I can't do live fact checking at the moment.
Well, that's okay. We'll let the listeners do it. But I believe Montel was like, "Yeah, I thought of that. I said it on my show, and everyone started copying me." So, fun fact about Montel Williams: he says he invented that. So there you go.
We can go back to Montel Williams. Maybe he's on Cameo asking about the Peacekeeper.
Well, I mean, what's next? You're going to put a movie with Cynthia Rothrock and Jenny Jones? I mean, how did you come up with this? Or Ricky Lake? I mean,
we talked about, because Dolph he's also done a film with Jerry Springer.
That's the next movie I was about to say.
Oh, that's your next one? Okay, perfect. Well, maybe
it was perfect. Good segue.
Okay, should we segue into it and then talk? Because I have this idea for movie. Well, maybe I'll just mention it. Okay. I think we talked about this, maybe Ty, that this idea of Jenny Jones and Dolph in a movie where Jenny Jones is sending kids to the boot camp, right? Because they always do the boot camp, right? And it ends up being like one of those, like, the boot camp is being the island the boot camp is on. Drug dealers are doing a big drug exchange there. So Dolph, who like runs the boot camp, has to it's almost like detention.
Yeah,
but But it'd be a good way to use Jenny Jones. I mean, I don't know if you can use Jenny Jones anymore after what happened with her show. Like, I don't know if she's too toxic, but that idea of the boot camp thing.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, and he has to take these undisciplined 14-year-olds and get them to fight against the drug dealers. Yeah. It's a good idea. It's another good idea.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of a good title. Maybe like Under the Boot.
Right. Yeah. Reform School. No, I don't know.
Oh, Reform School, yeah. Killer.
Boot camp. Yeah.
Yeah, Killer Reform.
If it had Bruce Willis, it can be called Boot Kill or something like that.
I'm surprised it hasn't been made yet. He's probably making it right now, Boot Kill.
But yeah, so that's another good idea. But Ty, you have the next one.
Well,
I think we know what it's going to be, but what is it?
Yeah, it's a Defender because it's got Jerry Springer as the president, which is interesting. It's a good idea for being the president. I think he has a final thought.
Casting decision.
Yeah. Does he have a final thought in it? I think he does.
I think you're right. I think he did.
Yeah.
I mean, and this was Dolph's directorial debut
it was,
as well.
Yeah, Lance Rockford is his name, Dolph.
Right. I use that name for a lot of things, Lance Rockford.
Is that like your passwords? Don't say which ones.
Yeah, it's like a screen name that I'll use sometimes.
Oh, it's a screen name
for things. Yeah, and so I probably shouldn't tell people this because you could find me on Reddit, but that's one. But also when it was Cinemageddon, when they had that one, I would use that as my password when I still had that account. I would use Lance as like a screen name for things if I can.
A lot of this Dolph stuff is, it's in a lot of your online life because you had the screenshot of Chile and you had Lance Rockford.
Well, the thing about the Defender was that I pre-ordered it on Amazon Because when I heard that Jerry Springer and Dolph Lundgren were in a movie, I pre-ordered it immediately. And then I also pre-ordered the other Jerry Springer movie called Citizen Verdict, which is an insane movie.
Yeah.
So any Jerry Springer,
you also pre-ordered Russian Specialist, didn't you?
I sure did. I pre-ordered that. It's like, I'm pre-ordering the Russian Specialist. That's me. But it's like, that movie,
pre-ordering it?
He pre-ordered. He wanted a copy of his own movie. He loved making it. So in Defender, I mean, I need to rewatch it. I don't remember. I know it was a little. Well, obviously it was stupid, but I feel like it's going to be better now. But I think from what I remember, there wasn't that much Springer.
Right. Like, no, there wasn't. No. It, not like Citizen Verdict.
Yeah, it was all Springer.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where it's not like one of those ones where the president is like kidnapped or something like that. He's just in Washington, sort of being apprised of things that are happening.
Yeah, and he drops by once in a while. He's not like it's nonstop. Well, not that Citizen Verdict is nonstop Jerry Springer, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but Springer is no stranger to politics because wasn't he the mayor of, was it Cincinnati?
Yeah, he was.
So
I mean, it's not that crazy to think that he might become president one day because he was a mayor of a big city. So, I get he had to fulfill his.
In real life, he can't be president because he was born in London. So fun fact.
Did not know that. So he's really an Englander.
So this is as close as we're going to get to a Springer presidency.
Yes. Like I think from the movies that I've done on the site, I think he and Rutger Hauer are the two people that aren't Americans that have played presidents on films that we've done.
Right. You love Scorcher, right? I think you said you don't like Scorcher. That's the Rutger Hauer president.
Yes.
Movie.
Yeah. I think I wasn't a fan of that one. Yeah.
But the idea is good.
Yes.
And just a fun personal fact: the studio where they film Springer, the Steve Wilkos show, and
Maury.
What's the other one? There's a third one.
It's not Maury.
Oh no, it was Maury. It's Maury. That's in Stamford, Connecticut. And when I used to work in Stamford, I would pass by that building like every day, and you see where they're filming Springer, and it's pretty amazing because it's like right in downtown Stamford, Connecticut, and that's where they shoot those 3 shows. So I know where he is if he's still filming. I don't know.
The show. I think he just films Baggage or something, or Judge Jerry.
Right, Judge Jerry is what he does now.
Is that still in Connecticut? I'm not sure.
I don't know, but Maury and Wilkos might still be in that same studio in Stamford, but I don't know.
Yeah. He could be an action star. Povich. It's like Povich.
Yeah. Well, Steve Wilkos could actually be an action
star. He could be more of a brute, kind of like a Vin Diesel type, right? It's like,
yeah. I mean, he could have the line, "Get off my stage," right? And like,
yes, exactly. Yeah. That'd be like if terrorists take over a TV stage, not a studio, just the stage, and he has to say, "Get off my stage" in a Air Force One-esque moment.
Yeah, he has like a nice zoom-in close-up.
Yeah, get off my stage. He's very protective of his stage.
But we gotta get to your next movie, Matt.
So I'm on my number 3. So my number 3 is actually it's another new one for Dolph. It's Battle of the Damned. And this one is a tougher one to find. I saw it on Hoopla of all places. So for people who don't know what Hoopla is, it's
what's all the hoopla?
Right, what's deep in the hoopla, right? Like,
sorry.
Deep in the hoopla.
Right, yeah. But Hoopla is like essentially what Hoopla does is it takes your library account and it allows you to stream a selection of movies that they have for free. So you like. I use my my Philadelphia library account to log into Hoopla, and then whatever movies they have available, I can stream. And you can stream them for like 3 days, and then and you get like 4 things you can take out a month. Is how it works. And so so that was what I did. But this movie it's a movie about zombies that take over a city in Thailand.
Dolph robots.
Right. So robots show up at the end, right? So suddenly robots show up, right? So So at first it's just him fighting zombies, and then suddenly all these robots show up, and he befriends the robots, which is always fun. It's his character name is Max Gatling, which it's not Lance Rockford, but it's close. I mean, it's no War Child either, I guess you could say.
If your name was Matt Gatling, that'd be awesome. Or Brett Gatling, Ty Gatling. You could be named after a gun. That'd be so cool.
Well, I mean, I can't comment on this because I have not seen this movie, so I
It's on the queue, but I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, tell. I don't mind spoilers. I don't mind.
Well, because I mean, it's not.
Or do you? You mind spoilers, Brett?
I might mind spoilers, and the listeners might mind spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, the only spoiler that we've given away so far is that the robots show up. But the thing is, if you just go to you look on the cover, you see the robots there, so you know they're going to come eventually, right? So where are these robots going to show up? That's really the only spoiler is when the robots come in. Beyond that, that's the only spoiler I've given away so far, I should say. There are other things that happen in the film that I won't try to give away. But essentially, the idea is that this rich man who has a daughter who's like stuck in this zone that's been taken over. It's like you know how like that happens, right? There's the vampire or zombie outbreak, and they quarantine the area to keep everybody in who could be infected. Well, Dolph has to go in there with his team of mercenaries to extract this one girl whose like dad is like the CEO of the company or something, and then his crew gets killed, and he's like, I gotta finish the job for my guys, and that's really what it is. And so then he's like in there just doing it. But I mean, it's an invested Dolph. I think that's one thing. You get a good amount of Dolph in this film, and it is kind of a fun idea, especially when he's interacting with the robots. That's something that I think is a lot of fun. So the problem is you can't really get it other than Hoopla, or maybe you probably get it from DVD on Netflix. But Prime charges $2 for it. I don't know that it's necessary. I think for these movies that are unsung, I think if it was a little bit more sung, I'd say spend $2 to rent it. I don't know that it's necessarily worth that.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Because we already talked about The Peacekeeper and what's the other one that you had that would overlap?
Bridge of Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I only have one more movie.
Okay.
Which is what's this? I can't remember. The Killing Machine.
Oh yes.
So,
okay.
So another directed by Dolph movie.
Yeah.
So that's a good one because that really does deliver the goods. Because it has that awesome bit with, we'll just say, some home gym equipment.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that was awesome.
But it also has another title. It's called like Icarus.
Yeah, Icarus. It's like his name is like Edward June or something. Why do I remember this? Without looking it up, by the way. It's a good movie. I think people should know more about because it's him and then Bo Svensson.
Yeah.
And that's how my Dolph impression kind of started because he's good like Dos Vidania. It's just like
right, because I don't know if he's supposed to be Russian, but he did go through kind of a spate of movies in sort of like the 2000s where he played lots of Russian characters. Russian Specialist, possibly this, and there's like a couple others where he.
Well, I guess you could count. Was he playing one more? Right?
There's at least one more where he's supposed to be Russian.
Yeah, this one's a Soviet-trained assassin. So he's definitely. Yeah, I mean, Soviet trained, KGB trained. It was like once the Ivan Drago thing. Cause I mean, imagine it's got to be an important skill, right, to have to be able to be Russian in a movie, but be a fluent English speaker who people will buy as a Russian because then you can do both, right? You can read all the lines you need to read. You can do all the stuff that you need to do. So it's got to be a skill that must be like really important in the DTV industry.
Yeah, I would think. And also the cover, it says Dolph Lundgren is the Killing Machine.
No, you're gonna get me on that rant again because this is that's the title that comes up on if you watch it. Let's say it came to Stars or something. Mm-hmm. It says the title is Dolph Lundgren is the Killing Machine. That's not the title of the movie. It's just the Killing Machine. This is just like Kari Were Poison. If you look up Kari Were Poison and you look up the tape, or it says Kari Were Poison.
Right, as opposed to Poison.
It just supports the Kari Were and Poison. It's just Kari Were Poison.
Well, that actually might be good to know though, because I'm looking at this up online. It says Pluto. It's available on Pluto, according to IMDb. And so it's possible on Pluto that you're going to see this in any number of iterations if you're looking for this one. So look up Icarus, look up Killing Machine, or look up Dolph Lundgren is the Killing Machine. Right? Because
that's ridiculous. It doesn't. Come on. That went through so many bits for that to happen. How did that even? There's so many mistakes.
Right.
So it's like, right. But the movie overall is actually pretty entertaining. So.
Yeah, and one other thing too I want to say too, because I'm talking about watching it on streaming, this is another one of those ones that it does benefit from the DVD because Dolph does some commentary and he does some interviews about the film, because I guess it wasn't originally supposed to be him that was directing it. I think somehow he either fell to him to directing it or something happened there. And he talks about that process of directing the film. Like there's a they shot it in Vancouver, but it's supposed to take place in LA. So I guess there were a lot of scenes that they would do where it would be freezing out, and they couldn't shoot because you could see everybody's breath from how cold it was. And it's like LA, it's never cold enough in LA that you could see each other, So and it's funny because when we think of that, right, for us, like that would be kind of like a fun thing. That might make the movie even more fun for us, right? That we're like, oh, they're supposed to be in LA and it's so cold out that we can see their breath, Whereas like Dolph's like, no, I want to make sure that this doesn't, this doesn't seem right. I need to fix that. And it's almost like for us, like, no, don't fix it. It makes it even more fun for us.
Well, it shows he's a professional. But what's interesting is that for people that are interested in that sort of thing, he's been on a lot of DVD and Blu-ray commentaries talking about his movies and
regeneration, right? Like
he's on the commentary. Yeah, with John Hyams, and they're talking together about what it was like to make that great, excellent movie, and he pops up here and there on these commentaries, so he's out there doing that.
And I think there's a commentary for Skin Trade, with Dolph. So I haven't listened to it yet. It's hard to listen to commentaries, but for Dolph, usually I would make the time.
Well, yeah, because I think the funny thing about the reason why I did the commentary for the regeneration one was that I think he says at the beginning he's only going to be there for a few minutes, and then he ends up sitting and watching the whole thing with John Hyams.
I remember that. Yeah.
So I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I'll be. You know what? I like this movie. I'm going to stay for the whole time. It's pretty good.
Pretty much what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, for my list, I did have Bridge of Dragons as my number one. So I guess the only one that's left for me that we haven't talked about is my number two was The Minion with the spiked glove.
Spiked glove in the head.
Yes. Oh, that was one that my buddy and I actually saw. This was actually kind of like you think of like the whole like Zoom, like remotely, like, doing things together kind of thing. Actually, this was in like 2006. My buddy and I were in two completely separate locations. I think I was going to UNH for grad school or something like that, and I was in the dorm, and he was, I think, up in Bangor, Maine, where he was in school or something. But we, using AIM, we both watched The Minion at the same time. I think it was on USA or something like that, and we were riffing it via AIM together.
That's fun.
Yeah, so thinking about this whole thing,
memory.
Right? 15 years before, or 14 years before everybody's doing everything remotely, together.
Right.
We did that, and but I always remember that, and I called that movie in my blog post. I said it was too amazing for words, right? Because again, you're talking about Dolph Lundgren as a KGB trained Knights Templar priest who is like seeking out this demon that apparently. It lodges itself in what they call the primitive part of the brain, which is apparently is the brainstem is the primitive part of the brain. Didn't know that, but that's interesting. And so then the spiked glove, it's meant to like penetrate that primitive part of the brain and take the demon out. That was the idea. So I said that the movie was too amazing for words. I think that was the expression that I used. And one of the DVD iterations of this thing, it's like one of those ones that's like it's on a DVD with two other movies. They couldn't find anything good to say about they couldn't find anybody that had said anything good about the movie, so they quoted my thing saying it's too amazing for words. And,
wow, that's great.
Yeah, it is on the back there, but it's hilarious because, of course, I'm saying it's too amazing for words because it's like the goofiest concept ever, and it was just like so much fun. But they're just like, hey, let's go with it. This is fine.
That's great that he used you.
So you have a personal connection to the Minion.
Right, exactly. But I think this is one that for me, I think it's just I don't know what you guys think, but I always feel like it's another one of those like that kind of that 90s concept movie where we've got an archaeologist who's like extremely rich so that she can have like this like designer wardrobe and all this stuff, when we all know that most people know archaeologists don't make any money because universities don't pay archaeologists that much. Like this whole like thing of like, again, a Knights Templar KGB trained who just shows up, and the Knights Templar were somehow in the United States, and all of that kind of crazy stuff that it just seemed like movies in the 90s, especially the late 90s, just had a lot of this weird stuff like that. Dolph is a Russian again. That's another thing to keep in mind. yeah, it's just all of that stuff. I don't know. It's just like there's something about that kind of movie that is just a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And yeah, it's good that you.
I gave a copy on DVD. I found more like $1, but just the Minion. No, not the extra movies. What do you know? Do you remember the other extra movies on the disc or?
I don't. That's a good question. Maybe I can look it up on Amazon. And see, like, because it might show it. You know, like on Amazon, it might have that version of it. And yeah, because I think one of them might have been like Deep Blue or something. Or what was that? The shark movie?
Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, I think so. That might have been another one.
I wonder how they choose which movies go on these DVD packages. It's like,
yeah, because why would the Minion go with Deep Blue Sea? That seems like a crazy combination.
Yeah, and the other problem too, of course, with the Minion is that it's when you try to look it up.
Oh, you're right. Those are like those little cartoon characters, right?
Right, of course.
So Dolph was first, as usual.
Right, exactly. I think he's in a Minion, one of the new Minion movies that's coming out.
Is that new Minion movie? Why they never stop making those? Dolph's in it?
I think he's in it as like a
Minion.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay, so let's see.
I've done this before. I was in the Minion before. Why are you wasting my time with this? I already did this.
Please tell me you said that.
Wait, how could you not want to watch that? For some reason, I'm looking this up and I'm getting like a Charlie Brown Easter movie. So I guess that's you just never know what you're gonna find.
Well, you can get back to us at a later.
Yeah, I think because I have the DVD like on the floor near me here, but it is kind of interesting to think about like what other movies were involved with it. But yeah, it doesn't seem like they have it.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. I thought maybe you had it near you. So.
Yeah, no, I thought I could just because I think I got it on Amazon. So I actually got it from Amazon, and it didn't. Yeah, doesn't seem like it's showing up, which is too bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
like I said, I'm fresh out of Dolph. On the list, so
I mean,
all the rest of your stuff.
I had some honorable mentions.
Okay.
One interesting one, I think, and unfortunately it's not available to stream as far as I can tell anymore. It's called Welcome to Willits. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
I've heard of the movie, but I've never seen it.
So Welcome to Willits is a horror film that came out in like 2013. It's like an indie horror flick. And Dolph has a very small part in it. But the basic idea behind the film is that there's an alien invasion, and this guy and his wife are like trying to like kill the aliens. But really what it is that the guy and his wife are like on some kind of version of meth, I think it is, or something that's like causing them to see hallucinations and think that these kids that are camping in the area are the aliens. And so he's like picking them off. This guy is picking them off. Let me see if I can find the actor's name because he's actually kind of famous, I think. Bill Sage is his name, I believe.
I've heard of him. He's like one of his character actors.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and so Dolph's part in it. Dolph is like a TV police officer. And this guy is watching TV, seeing Dolph play this TV police officer, and then Dolph, with the hallucinations, Dolph is telling him to do things, like kill people and stuff like that. Dolph like is really into the role. I mean, it's a very small Dolph role. That's the thing. But just from like kind of like a creativity standpoint, I think it's kind of a fun movie in that sense. And Dolph just seems to get what they're going for and sells it even more, which was kind of fun.
I'll have to keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, it was on Netflix for the longest time, and then they just, how Netflix is. They just like, well, we got to go, we got to cut it. And
yeah, we got to go. I like that. We got to go.
Exactly. And so what happens is, right, with these movies is that Netflix cuts it, and then it's like, okay, how long does it take until Tubi picks it up? And that's really what we're waiting for, I guess. Now is that hopefully at some point Tubi, it's on IFC, the IFC channel. Or Independent Film Channel, they have a Prime channel, and I guess it's on there because again, it's an independent film. It's kind of more, more that kind of thing than it is a like just a sort of straight ahead DTV horror film.
Okay.
Yeah. And then two other ones that I had were two that I've covered on the podcast before. Don't Kill It and Altitude. So Don't Kill It, that's the one, again, so it's kind of similar to the Minion. I think that's why, one reason why I didn't want to include it here, because the Minion kind of does what Don't Kill It does better. But I shouldn't say better, right? Don't Kill It's a more...
I thought that was okay. I mean, like all the screaming, like the nonstop screaming of the monsters of Don't Kill It.
Exactly.
I think I put it on mute. I think I muted it.
Right. And also, it's a little bit more of a competent film, but I almost sometimes that works to its detriment, right? That like the minion being less competent actually is more fun. And so there's always that part of it too, right? That like that sometimes you'd rather have a film be a little bit more all over the place and have fun with it than to have it be competent and there isn't as much to make fun of, because then if, like you said, if it has things like the screaming, there aren't other things to have fun with it in addition to it.
Right. No, I certainly agree with that.
And then you said the other one was Altitude. That's one of Denise Richards, right?
Right, and I think a lot of people, it's an interesting film because Denise Richards, I think you look at it and you go, oh, Denise Richards, what? And I think a lot of people didn't like it, and I covered that one with Mitch on a podcast, and I think people thought, like, because Mitch, like, if you ever read his reviews, like, he's like tough, like, I think
tough. Yeah, he's tough. His good reviews are tough.
Yeah, like it's funny. Like a lot of times, I kind of was like what I call like a trifecta movie, where like I review something that you and Mitch have already reviewed, and so I'll look at both of your reviews. Whereas like you guys will maybe give a movie like 3.5 stars, but you'll talk about like all the things that are wrong with it and all the things that are good, and then I'll look at Mitch's and he might give that same movie like 1.5 stars, but it's like he said the exact same things that you guys said that were good and bad, and it's always kind of interesting to see that difference in like
like who gets a pass and who doesn't,
right?
Like,
yeah.
So do you guys like Altitude or not like Altitude?
We did, and I think people were expecting us to crush it because again, Mitch had his reputation as being tougher on movies, and then I have, well, it's Matt, he's going to make fun of the movie or something like that, and we didn't crush it, and I think people were like, oh, that's interesting, like we were, you're going to just make fun of Denise Richards for 2 hours and all that, but Denise Richards is pretty capable as the hero. It's the thing is that Dolph isn't in it as much. He's not even like the lead baddie. It's like he's just there, but his Dolph presence is just so immense. It's like the moment he walks onto the plane, because the movie's about a plane that gets hijacked, and Denise Richards, yeah, like that, Die Hard on a plane, I guess you could say. But Denise Richards is like this FBI agent who's just happens to be on that flight, and so she's the fly in the ointment, right? The bug in the system,
it's like executive decision, right? Like,
right, exactly.
I mean, it's pretty much that.
Yeah, and it's like I think it would just be that if it wasn't for Dolph, like just Dolph's presence there. But I think Denise Richards also does a good job, and it's almost a sense too that like Dolph wants Denise Richards to shine in that movie. He wants it to be her movie, and I appreciate that too. That Dolph, I think that's one thing about Dolph that you don't see from a lot of the other big names. Is the other big names when they're in the movie, they want it to be their movie. They need it to be. If Dolph's in the movie, it's got to be Dolph, right? Everything's got to be about Dolph. Not about Dolph, but the other people, it's got to be about them. Whereas Dolph is like, no, I'll take a backseat. I'm happy to sort of let Denise Richards have her moment, or let some of the other people in the film. I think Kelsey Grammer's daughter is in it as well, and I think he was happy to let her sort of have her moment there, which is one thing that's kind of cool about Dolph. But by the same token, for us that are watching a movie with Dolph in it, we're kind of looking for Dolph.
I don't know where I am.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I have to say this is a good list.
Yeah. I think the two big things I think for people out there is that one, almost everything we listed here is available on Tubi.
That's good. That's good to hear, because it's like, where are these movies? No, they're available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because nobody can seem to find things, right? Like they're always looking, where can I find these things? Where do you get these? And I think for people that are kind of getting into Dolph, or like they have an idea of who Dolph is, but they don't know the rest of them, I think this is a good place for people to start.
Well, and I think you gave people like a really good list. Like, I doubt there's anyone listening that's seen every single movie we mentioned. Like, I'm sure there's movies we mentioned that people haven't seen, so they can fill in the gaps in their Dolph watching habits. If you run down both of our lists and honorable mentions, you're going to find an uncovered gem, I think.
Oh, for sure. I definitely agree.
Yeah, and I mean, you could almost marathon these too with, which, not to be like a get off my lawn type, but I saw that the new Justice League, Zack Snyder cut or whatever, is like 4 hours long. You could do like 3 of these movies almost in that span of time. So that's a good way to think about it, I think, with these films. Most of them are in the hour and a half range. Every once in a while they bump them to that 100-minute mark, but you get more bang for your buck, I think, sometimes with these.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Well, like you said, there's weird things that will happen that you don't expect in almost all of these movies. So, I don't think people will be disappointed.
No, most of these movies we chose are actually highly entertaining. There are no bad Dolphs we mentioned on the list. So.
Yeah, and I think when I was on the show with you guys where we talked about Ronald Is it Marcini? We never decided if it's Marcini or Martini.
Is it Martini or Martini?
Right, but
I think we're bringing that back after we did that in July.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I like the continuity.
Yeah, I mean, like he. We talked about how he had 7 movies that they weren't the most amazing things ever, but they were all fun. I think especially now for people that are watching direct-to-video and, a lot of the stuff from the 2000s and 2010s just isn't fun. And so to kind of be able to have some go-tos that we're telling you, you're going to have fun with these. They may not be the best movies ever. There's going to be some things that you're going to find wrong with them. But to know that, okay, I'm going to go in for an hour and a half and it's going to be fun, I think that's important.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that's true for lots of movies.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I guess we're kind of we're kind of wrapping up now. I think maybe we'll kind of go into the plugs and
the plugs. Okay,
yeah, and all that jazz.
Let's see. I guess there's the website.
.net. Yeah.
Yep. And we got the podcast, our own podcast, which is everywhere. So where do you get your podcast?
Reviews. Yeah, called Comeuppance Reviews podcast. So look for that on iTunes and all podcatchers.
So, and then we're on Twitter, Ty Comeuppance. My Instagram's Ty Action Rocks. I posted Night Ice 4, Fatal Passion today.
With Paula Barbieri?
Yeah, Paula Barbieri.
Yes.
Yeah, OJ's girlfriend. Yeah.
And is that it? Oh, we're on Facebook, under the site name. So.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention too about your podcast is you guys have a new segment. Bid for Seriousness that I think is really cool.
Oh, thanks.
Well, we look forward to seeing if you have anyone that fits the. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Brett.
If next time you're on the show, see if you can come up with someone that fits that category.
Yeah. No, the idea, right, is that it's when someone like a Charlie Sheen goes from, or I guess the most famous one, right, is Rick Schroeder, right? Ricky Schroeder suddenly was Rick Schroeder, and and it seems like it took off from there, right? And Charlie Sheen was Charles Sheen for a period, and
yes.
So you guys sort of take that idea with some of these names that we're used to being in one way or another.
Yes.
Exactly.
So
we thought it was high time we did that.
Yeah. What was the one that you had on your last show? Was instead of Yahoo Serious, it was Yahooington?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yahooington Serious. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a good example of what we're talking about. What if he wanted to get away from being the goofy, wacky young Einstein guy and wanted to do more serious roles, and he expanded his full name that we completely made up.
And also, I guess we have Rebington Brown, which we mentioned before. So.
Yeah. So this is the segment had been brewing for a while. We just kind of formalized it.
Yeah. We got some ones in the hopper, and I know you'll be on our show. I think maybe next week. Hopefully, it's not next week or something like that, because we're going to talk about Jerry Trimble.
Yes. So. Yes, and I Trimble is I mean, what would that be? Gerald Trimble, if you wanted to do that?
Yeah, I guess it would. Yeah.
Gerald
Trimble, maybe.
Right. I mean, one of my favorites of one of those was so back in 2011, the Patriots were playing the New York Giants in the Super Bowl. And so Fred Young, who does Full Moon Reviews, he's from the New York area. I think he lives in Brooklyn, maybe. But he's a Giants fan, so we had a bet. Whoever's team loses, the winner's team gets to pick a movie and make them review it. It's kind of trying to pick something bad. So he picked this movie, Do You Want to Know a Secret, for me to review, which had Joey Lawrence, but as Joseph Lawrence. And then that was in, what was that? 2001. I think he's back to being Joey Lawrence now. But
thank goodness.
Yeah. I mean, just that idea, right? Joseph Lawrence.
Like me trying to fool Joey. Oh.
Right.
Insert whoa impression here.
Yeah, I think I did whoa. I think I started 3 paragraphs with whoa, with an exclamation point. I think when I did the review, I'm looking it over right now, and There's two. There's at least two. Whoa! So you have to have that in there. And so, I guess if we were going to do a Joey Lawrence impression, that's all I have is whoa.
I know.
That's okay. That's all anybody has. But that is a good example. So if next time we're talking about it and we're setting it up, we should use Joey/Joseph Lawrence as an example because that's what it is.
I mean, I think it's one thing I love about your guys' show is that you have those segments. I think the should have been an action star, right? That one stemmed from an actual episode that you guys did, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, we thought it would be a good episode idea, and we got a lot of positive feedback about that, so we just kind of developed it into a segment. So that's probably what we'll do going forward. If we kind of stumble upon a good idea, maybe we'll turn it into a segment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the cliche of the day, or that those are great too, because it's like we watch these action movies and we just see these things that happen in so many of them. It's like almost like a bingo card or something, right? When you're watching an action movie, it's like, you get your card and it's like, oh, did the helicopter explode? Oh, did somebody say we've got company? It's almost like, like who wins the bingo? You could make bingo cards with some of these things. And so it's always great to have them sort of, discuss the way you guys discuss them on your show.
Well, thanks for appreciating that. Because kind of like what you said earlier about Cop on the Edge, I just want to make it extra clear that we don't say that in a negative way, because they need those things. Like if you took them away, you wouldn't have anything. So you can't get rid of them. So they're just the cliches, not in the negative way, that we know and love. And like you said, they're like the lubrication of the wheels that keep it, keep the train on the track. They have to happen. So
the fun cliches you all love and enjoy.
Yeah.
Right, because when they happen, a lot of us do like a good Tiger Woods fist pump, right? When it happens, it's like yes, it's not like it's like you're not like sitting there like rolling our eyes like when the like you talk about like the front desk guy, and it's like when the bad guys come in and silence or shoot, pew pew and take him out, Right, it's not like we're rolling our eyes and going, "Oh, you're doing that again? Oh, come on."
Yeah, no. Because if you had that attitude, you wouldn't be watching these movies in the first place.
Right.
You know what? Maybe Golfers has a chance to have some action stars. You got Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
Jack Nicklaus. Others.
Yeah, I mean Gary Player's name, I think.
Gary Players. That's the guy. That's a real golfer.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. Players.
I think the one problem is I think Fuzzy Zeller would be great. The problem is he's like said so many problematic things that he's just been so canceled that you couldn't have him in the
that's
movie,
unfortunate.
Well, he could be in the Cancel Run, that movie that we came up with.
Yeah, Luke Goss and Fuzzy. What's Fuzzy Dice? What's his name?
Fuzzy, yeah. Well, and Chi Rodriguez, isn't that a golfer?
We can do this all day.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like we got something here. Maybe we'll do the golf version of Junior Action Star.
Right. Yeah.
When you come on soon.
Yeah, I guess because golf is such a bland sport that you got to have cool names to be able to get your
to jazz it up. Yeah.
Right.
Well, we have that jacket. That cool jacket. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So maybe you can put it on slow motion and then start shooting people or something. So
well, maybe it could be like a Die Hard in a movie where someone steals the jacket and then or it'd be like a better version of Icebreaker, where they're at some sort of golf tournament and they take over the whole wherever they're holding it, like Pebble Beach or something, and then they have to kill. The main golfing hero has to kill the terrorists.
Attack on Pebble Beach or something like that.
Yeah.
So you have to do it in some kind of because the problem with the golf course, right, is it's easy to escape, right?
Right.
So how do you make
it? How do you make it Die Hardy? You'd have to have a perimeter, right? They have to maybe a dog collar type perimeter. That's what it is. Everybody gets a wristband when they come to the golf event.
Okay.
And then if you go through if you go past the perimeter, you blow up because of the wristband. That's how you contain.
Like Battle Royale meets The Condemned meets Deadlock.
Right. Right.
meets Die Hard.
Meets Die Hard. Or is it Wedlock? Is it Deadlock or Wedlock?
Yeah. Yeah, because somehow the hero, right, whoever's playing the hero, doesn't get the wristband. To bring it
back to Dolph, it would be like in Command Performance. Remember, Joe goes to the bathroom and misses the terrorists, and then he doesn't know what's going on. So it's kind of like that. Maybe someone just goes to the bathroom or something, and then comes out, and all this, and everyone has their wristband.
Because we can. We're doing this right now, but we could have done this for another no subject episode.
Right.
Well, maybe
that's
we'll
true.
repeat it. We can repeat it. So, yeah, I'll think of some new ideas.
Right, exactly.
All
Yeah, I
right,
have to.
well,
It's funny. Like every time we do an episode, I look at the clock and I'm like, oh, we're kind of closing. You know, we got we got some time here. We got some time to discuss things, and then it's like, boom, we it's easy to use up time. We're talking about something. You know, it's like
ran out of time.
Yeah, it's Die Hard in a golf course. Like it's always there's always going to be a new thing. I think with these action movies, like there's a new way to do it, and it is kind of a shame. Again, we talk about this that you know Hollywood or whoever make the studios, the DTV studios, they don't listen to us and they don't listen to this show or your show and realize all the great ideas that we have for things. I mean, you know, Die Hard in a golf course, that would be pretty easy, I think. I think you could, you know.
It's simple. You could definitely see
and
when
they've
they
done
start
Die
shooting.
Hard so many other places. I mean, everywhere else. But I don't think they've ever done a golf course.
Yeah, because I can totally see when they start shooting all the dirt flies. You got something. Yeah.
Well, that would be like the ultimate, like, awesome yes moment that happens like towards the end of the movie where like our hero golfer like has to do this like impossible shot in like a sand trap, and like you don't think it's gonna happen, and then like at the last second he does it and all the sand goes up in the air, and then like the golf ball blows up, and like that would be like the ultimate, you know, awesome moment.
And maybe you could have a nice cool close up. Who would be in this? Luke Goss. So it's like
well, he's in all of our movies because
we can
isn't he in Cancel Run and in that other one?
What, Attack on Pebble Beach?
No, the one we mentioned on the No Subject episode. It was Cancel Run and
he's in two of our movies, Cancel Run, and another one. What's the other one?
I'm not. We talked about it for a long time, but I don't remember right now. But anyway, well, because he's one of the only action stars that are really kind of around. I mean, you have Scott Adkins and Wade Barrett or Stu Bennett, or I don't know.
Same person. I mean, well, you gotta have the comedic moment where they're wearing a funny golf outfit. Like, I don't want to be wearing this.
Yeah, there has to be a comedic relief character where someone's wearing funny pants. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And maybe he could shoot the bad guy. Well, there's a spoiler for a fake movie again.
For a movie that doesn't exist. Okay, go for it.
And so he shoots the bad guy and says hole in one.
Yeah. Well, like there's like a huge hole through like his chest, and then he goes hole in one.
Yeah, hole in one. Or
maybe there could be like a gun in the golf putter. No, not the ball. The putter.
Right. And he can run over somebody with the golf cart. This is good.
There's a lot you could do. Like maybe he has like a souped up golf cart that has like a huge motor in it.
Yes, it has like a machine gun on it, like a turret.
See, once again, it writes itself.
So that sounds great. We'll have to make this movie. What's our title? Hole in One?
It could be. Or what are some of the terms that they use for
scratch?
For golf?
That sounds right.
Blood scratch.
That's cool. Never mind.
Yeah.
Wait, that could be an idea too.
Yeah.
We'll save that one.
It could be called like American Eagle or something, because you can get an eagle.
Right.
Someone named Asher Browner's already in that.
I know, but I feel like Eagle has to be in the title somewhere.
Okay, I can see that though.
Considering there's been like 3 chain of commands, I think you can do it. We could get away with another American Eagle.
Come back.
Right.
Yeah, because he's like a ex-Navy SEAL, ex-Special Forces, ex-Army, ex-Navy, ex-Rangers with a huge past, and so he's an American Patriot, and also Eagle is a golf term. So I think that's got to be it.
Good.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it is like the bad guys are Brits or something like that, and it's like this tournament between the Americans and the Europeans or something, like the President's Cup or the Ryder Cup that they do like that. It could be something like that where it's like a rah-rah American element to it.
Right, and just like in Die Hard, where the bad guys were German or some sort of undisclosed European nationality, that has to be in there somewhere, where the bad guys are foreign in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I mean, you could, go standard terrorist and have like the golf course be in like, the United Arab Emirates and it's like they're opening it there.
That's true.
Like,
that's
some like, Arab terrorist separatist group has taken it over, and that's when you get, probably like I don't know who would play those parts, like maybe the guy who played Django Fett in or something like that. I think he passed away recently, actually, didn't he?
But that would
explain a title for this golf thing.
Oh, okay.
Sand Trap.
Yeah. Well, that would be perfect if it takes place in the United Arab Emirates, because I was going to say maybe one way, because we're worried about how would people not escape. Like if you're in the middle of the desert surrounded by thousands of miles of sand, you're kind of not going anywhere.
Good point.
Yeah,
so
that would be the golf course.
Right.
So
it's
this
like
is good.
A feat of engineering that they were able to create a lush green golf course in the middle of a desert area.
Right.
And so everybody drives out there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it'd be perfect, because the engineers that work in that part of the country do that all the time. Like they came up with the soccer stadium where it like rains in the stadium or something. Like they have all these like wacky ideas because they live in the desert, so they they actually have ideas like that. So it's not that far fetched.
Yeah. This is like, I mean, one of the things I was thinking too as we were talking about is I love the idea that the bunker is actually used as a bunker, right? Like the characters using it for cover to shoot people. That it's like literally a bunker.
And a sand trap is literally a trap.
Right. Yeah.
So
and I think Luke Goss I think works, and I think you can also I mean I guess with the American part of it, right, that would make it even funnier that Luke Goss is using an American accent to play this American character. I always get a kick out of that if it's like a real rah American thing and he's the American even though he's not really American. I think would make it even better.
Well, and doesn't one of those Superman movies, Superman, like the most Americana character there is played by a British guy?
Right, Cavill, yeah, Henry Cavill, is that his name? Henry Cavill?
Cavill? Is it Cavill?
I don't know. Half care.
Yeah, but because I'm not interested. But I do find that kind of funny. Like, there's no American. There's 330 million Americans. You couldn't find an American to play Superman.
Because they tried it with Brendan Routh, right? And I guess for whatever reason they didn't like him as Superman. And so they're like, well, we got to get somebody else, and so that so they find a Brit to do it.
What a world!
Yeah, well, that might be a good way to wrap that up. Some Brit talk.
They could put a button on it. So so thank you guys again for coming on. Again, the site is comeuppance.reviews.net.
No problem.
The podcast, you guys can find their podcast. I do everything through iTunes, so I never know where. Even my own site, my own podcast, I forget that it's on Spotify and Stitcher. So I just because I only do things through iTunes.
I think that's what most people do. I think most people are on iTunes.
Yeah, I know some people who listen on Spotify. So.
And there's at least one person that listens on Google Play, I'm told. So
pretty cool. So thanks again for having us on the show. It was fun.
Yeah, thanks again
thank you very much.
on. It was another fun one, and we'll kind of look forward to probably won't be too long before we'll be back doing this one again.
Yeah, we'll have some fun.
We'll be talking about Trimble very soon.
Yeah, very soon. We'll step it up shortly.
And I think we potentially might have some Robert Ginty, or as I say, Ginty too. Right.
Yes, I think that's in the offing as well. A Ginty episode will be coming sometime in 2021, but I'm not sure when.
And maybe even Billy Blanks too. So we got a lot for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff out there. So for everybody, this was kind of your kind of giving you some other Dolph that's out there, but there's a lot of other guys out there. Women too. There's a lot of other people out there doing great stuff that kind of after Dolph that is worth checking out.
Well, we did a whole episode about that. The other guys.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That was on your show.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. I think it was the last time you guys were on. We did.
Oh yeah.
But I firmly believe in giving those people a spotlight as well. Yeah. So I'm always happy to talk about the lesser known characters. I mean, there's only so much we can talk about Steven Seagal and Van Damme. I think people might be kind of sick of hearing about them. I think they want to hear about people like Trimble and Ginty and the rest.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely be doing that in the future.
Yeah.
So thanks again. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys again for coming on, and thank you everybody for listening. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
That's the sound of a patient whose health data is protected from a cyber attack. And that's the sound of a financial system that's digitally secured from bad actors. Right now, there's an invisible war being fought on a digital battlefield that impacts what we do every day. That's why at Peraton, we do the can't be done to help protect the vital systems we rely on. Because if we don't, the alternative is unimaginable. Peraton.